put the recording on. Welcome to this new webinar series by All India Forum for Right to Education on social justice and national education policy 2020. Today we are honored to have our guest as Senior Advocate Ashok Agarwal from Supreme Court, who is also the General Secretary of All India Parents Association. He would be enlightening us on the constitutional vision of education, NEP 2020, and the roadmap for action. May I request Ashok Agarwal ji to start his, because the program will be like that first he will make his presentation, then a Hindi translation of that, a summary of that will be presented, and then the questions whoever has asked, and you can ask your question in the chat book as well as is going live on our All India Forum for Right to Education Facebook channel also. So may I request Ashok Agarwal ji to start his presentation and enlighten us on this issue.
Hello to everybody. बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक दिया है मेरे को, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का विजन क्या है और उसमें रोड मैप क्या होगा। तो अगर हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जाते हैं तो मेरा हमेशा ये कहना है कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन रियली बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट डॉक्यूमेंट है। वो अलग बात है कि जब लॉज बनाते हैं ये तो बहुत कई बार जो है ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की जो लेटर्स एंड स्पिरिट है उसके खिलाफ बनाते हैं, उसकी लाइन में नहीं बनाते हैं, तो बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स उसकी वजह से होती है, क्योंकि बैड लॉ लीड टू बैड रिजल्ट्स। कई बार हम लोग ये बोलते हैं कि लॉ तो बहुत अच्छा है, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नहीं होता, लेकिन अगर आप बहुत अच्छे तरीके से गहराई से लॉज को एनालिसिस करेंगे तो आपको पता लगेगा कि ये भी लॉज भी टिल्ट करते हैं टुवर्ड्स पावरफुल एंड माइटी पीपल, और ये जो आम जनता है जिसको जरूरत है अपने राइट्स की, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जिसकी बात करता है, वो कहीं खो जाते हैं। तो अगर हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जाते हैं, ओरिजिनल प्रोविजन में जाते हैं, आर्टिकल 45 में, तो वो 14 साल तक के बच्चों को जो है स्कूल के सिस्टम में लाने की बात करता है विद इन 10 ईयर्स, और ये वो 10 ईयर्स वो है जो डेडलाइन है, कोई ऐसा नहीं है, डिस्क्रिएशन है ये। और दूसरा आर्टिकल जो 21 है वो ये है कि राइट टू लाइफ, और राइट टू लाइफ जो है वो राइट टू डिग्निटी होता है, और डिग्निटी एजुकेशन के बगैर कोई डिग्निटी है नहीं। तो इसलिए जो फंडामेंटल राइट में भी और डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल में भी एक तरीके से अगर रीडिंग टुगेदर हो तो ये होता है कि हर एक बच्चे का, हर एक व्यक्ति का जो है एजुकेशन जो है वो बहुत ही बेसिक ह्यूमन बर्थ राइट, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट, फंडामेंटल राइट और लीगल राइट, किसी भी एंगल से देख ले तो वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट राइट है। अब हुआ क्या कि 10 साल में जब बच्चों को लाना था इन्होंने, ये नहीं ला सके। तो 60s के अंदर इन्होंने क्या करा, कंपलसरी एक्ट्स बनाए अलग अलग स्टेट्स में, और दिल्ली वाज द फर्स्ट वन। बहुत सारे लोगों को पता भी नहीं है कि दिल्ली प्राइमरी एजुकेशन एक्ट बना था 1960, और उसमें कुछ ऑफिसर्स भी अपॉइंट किए गए थे, अटेंडिंग ऑफिसर, और म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन के जो होता है इनका बजट्स जो होता है, बजट प्लान, उसमें वो 12 पोस्टें आज भी वहां पे जो है एमसीडी के उसमें देख सकते हैं लोग, लेकिन वो शुरू में भर्ती हुए फिर नहीं हुए। और इस तरीके से बहुत सारे स्टेट्स ने, लगभग 22-23 स्टेट्स ने इस तरीके का कानून बनाया, लेकिन वो इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर पाए उसको, और उसमें कुछ जुर्माने का भी प्रोविजन था पेरेंट्स के खिलाफ। और वो अल्टीमेटली उन्होंने एक तरीके से, गवर्नमेंट ने अल्टीमेटली ये डिसाइड किया कि इसको इम्प्लीमेंट ही मत करो। तो अभी भी वो लॉ है, वो रिपील नहीं हुए हैं, लेकिन एक्चुअली में इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं हुए हैं। उसके बाद क्या हुआ, जो 1993 में एक उनी कृष्णन का जजमेंट सुप्रीम कोर्ट का आया, और उन्होंने कहा कि मतलब 40-42 साल हो गए हैं ये जो आर्टिकल 45 में जो प्रोविजन है कि 14 इयर्स तक के बच्चे को आप फ्री एंड कंपलसरी एजुकेशन देंगे और आप ला नहीं सके, तो इसलिए हमें मजबूरी में इसको जो है एलिवेट करना पड़ेगा, इसको स्टेटस देना पड़ेगा फंडामेंटल राइट का। और उसमें बहुत एक इंटरेस्टिंग चीज उन्होंने ये बताई, जो होल्ड किया उन्होंने सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने, वो ये किया कि राइट टू एजुकेशन जो है वो फंडामेंटल राइट है एट ऑल लेवल्स एंड टू ऑल पीपल। लेकिन जहां हम 14 साल तक की बात करते हैं वो एकदम जो है ना परफेक्ट राइट है उसका, और जो स्टेट्स है वो किसी तरीके का भी एक्सक्यूज नहीं कर सकती। कोई स्टेट ये नहीं कह सकती कि हमारे पास फाइनेंशियल क्रंच है या ये रीजन है या वो रीजन है, ये इंप्लीमेंट करना ही पड़ेगा। तो एक तरीके से राइट तो सभी लोगों का है और एट ऑल लेवल्स है, लेकिन 14 इयर्स तक का तो बिल्कुल ही एकदम जो है एब्सोल्यूट राइट है। लेकिन उस 93 के जजमेंट के बाद भी कोई खास कहीं परिवर्तन हुआ नहीं, और उसके बाद फिर 2002 में कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर आर्टिकल 21A लाए, जिसमें उन्होंने लिखा कि स्टेट shall provide free and compulsory education to all children in the age group 6 to 14 in a manner provided by the state in as per law। तो वो 2002 में अमेंडमेंट कर दिया था। उसके बाद 2002 से जो एक्सरसाइज चली राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट की, वो 2009 तक चली, और पता नहीं कितने ड्राफ्ट, मेरे ख्याल से जितने ड्राफ्ट राइट टू एजुकेशन बिल के बने, मेरे ख्याल से हिंदुस्तान में इतने ड्राफ्ट किसी भी चीज के नहीं बने, किसी लॉ के। एक के बाद एक बदला गया वो, और अंत में 2009 में जो है वो फ्री एंड कंपलसरी एजुकेशन एक्ट लाया गया। और फिर इंटरेस्टिंग ये है कि 1 अप्रैल 2010 से बोथ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोविजन आर्टिकल 21A एंड द कंपलसरी एक्ट राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट जो है उसको वो उन्होंने 1 अप्रैल से उसको 2010 से लागू किया। अब लागू कर दिया, उसके बाद उसमें भी कुछ बेसिक चीजें थी उसके अंदर कि सब बच्चों को लाएंगे, स्टेट की कंपलसरी जो है वो कंपल्शन स्टेट के ऊपर होगा कि सब चीजें वो प्रोवाइड करे, सब फैसिलिटीज प्रोवाइड करे। लेकिन ऐसा हुआ नहीं। और देखने को ये मिला इस सारे उसके अंदर कि जो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स थे जिनके लिए पर्टिकुलरली वो लॉ बना था गवर्नमेंट स्कूलों के लिए, उनमें ना जो टीचर्स की अपॉइंटमेंट हुई प्रॉपरली, ना बेसिक फैसिलिटीज दी गई, ना स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ एजुकेशन बना। और ऑन दी अदर हैंड व्हाट हैपेंड कि जो एनरोलमेंट सी गवर्नमेंट स्कूलों के अंदर कंट्री वाइड, वो गिर गई। बहुत सारे सैकड़ों की तादाद में स्कूलों को बंद कर दिया गया जगह जगह, और बहुत सारे स्कूल्स को उन्होंने प्राइवेट लोगों के हाथ में हैंड ओवर कर दिया। तो जो बच्चे स्कूल में आने थे वो भी रुक गए, और जो बाहर बच्चे थे स्कूल से वो और बढ़ गए। तो आज की अगर हम स्थिति को देखते हैं तो एक तरीके से देखते हैं कि प्राइवेटाइजेशन को जो है वो इन्होंने काफी समय से जो है वो प्रमोट किया है, और डेलिबरेटली एंड डिजाइन्ड तरीके से किया है कि अपने गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम को जो है डिमोलिश कर दो। तो वो जब डिमोलिश करोगे तो नेचुरली बच्चों को जिन्होंने पढ़ाना है वो तो पढ़ाएंगे, तो प्राइवेट स्कूल सिस्टम जो है। तो अभी क्या हुआ है कि एक तरफ तो प्राइवेट सिस्टम ऐसा बन गया है जहां पे धीरे धीरे मशरूमिंग स्कूल्स बन रहे हैं, जिसमें मेरे ख्याल से काफी परसेंटेज ऑफ स्कूल्स है इवन बैड देन द गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स। लेकिन क्योंकि वो प्राइवेट स्कूल का टैग लगा हुआ है और बच्चों का जो भी है थोड़ा बहुत केयर होता है, इसकी वजह से पेरेंट्स जो है वो मूव करते हैं। तो प्राइवेट आज क्या हो रहा है कि एक तरफ प्राइवेट स्कूल्स में मजबूरी में लोगों को जाना पड़ रहा है, और प्राइवेट स्कूल जो है वो मनमानी तरीके से लूट रहे हैं। और हमने पिछले 23-24 साल के अंदर देखा है कि फीस को बराबर बढ़ा के और तरीके से, और इतना हु एंड क्राई पेरेंट्स के अंदर हो गया है कि जो उनकी बहुत सारी चीजें, जो फैसिलिटीज थी उनकी, कई अगर घूमने चले जाते थे, कपड़े खरीद लेते थे, कुछ बेटर फूडिंग था, बहुत सारी चीजों पे वो जो खर्च करते थे वो खर्चे उनके रुक के और वो फीस के ऊपर चले गए। और वो फीस भी अभी जो पेंडेमिक हुआ है उसके अंदर तो कमाल ही हो गया कि बिल्कुल ही जो पेरेंट्स की हालत खराब हो गई, और जो स्कूल्स थे वो उनको कितना कंपेल कर रहे थे। तो अभी जो मतलब एक तरफ एक तो प्राइवेट स्कूल्स जो लूट कर रहा है, और जबकि एक इंटरेस्टिंग चीज ये है जो हमें समझनी चाहिए कि एजुकेशन ही अकेला एक ऐसा एरिया है जहां पर जो है आप कमर्शलाइज नहीं कर सकते, जहां प्रॉफिटिंग नहीं कर सकते। दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट ने 1998 के डिवीजन बेंच के जजमेंट में ये कहा था कि इसके 4 पिलर्स होते हैं स्कूल के, और एक पिलर है कि फिलैंथ्रोपिक, दूसरा है कम्युनिटी सर्विस, तीसरा है नॉन कमर्शियलाइजेशन, चौथा है नो प्रॉफिटिंग। लेकिन आप अगर प्रैक्टिकली देखेंगे तो ग्राउंड रियलिटी ये है कि वो सब चीजें बढ़ी ही हैं, घटी गई नहीं है। तो ऐसी स्थिति में जो है मतलब जो एजुकेशन है उसका असर ये हो रहा है कि आज और पेंडेमिक में खासकर जो चाइल्ड लेबर है, जो आउट ऑफ स्कूल चिल्ड्रन है, उसकी संख्या बहुत बढ़ गई। और वो लोग हैं जो मजदूरों के बच्चे हैं, गरीब लोगों के बच्चे हैं, और जो टोटली डिपेंड है पब्लिक एजुकेशन सिस्टम पे। और पब्लिक एजुकेशन सिस्टम का हाल मुझे व्याख्यान करने की जरूरत नहीं है। और दूसरी तरफ जो है प्राइवेट स्कूल्स जो है वो लोगों को लूट रहे हैं। तो जरूरत क्या है कि एक तरफ तो प्राइवेट स्कूल्स को हमें रेगुलेट करना चाहिए कि वो प्रॉफिटिंग ना कर सके। दूसरा उसका जो अल्टरनेटिव है वो ये है कि गवर्नमेंट जो स्कूल है सिस्टम वो इंप्रूव करना चाहिए। वही एक आंसर है। आज क्या है कि जो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल के सिस्टम के अंदर पढ़ रहे हैं उनको भी एजुकेशन प्रॉपरली नहीं मिल रही है, कंड्यूसिव एटमोस्फियर नहीं है, टीचर्स अपॉइंटमेंट नहीं है। अब आप 2-2 हजार 5-5 हजार में टीचर्स अगर रखोगे, अनक्वालिफाइड टीचर्स रखोगे, तो आप कैसी एजुकेशन दे रहे हो? मुझे याद है सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कम से कम 2 जजमेंट में ये कहा था कि अगर इल क्वालिफाइड टीचर आप रखते हो तो ये एंटी नेशनल एक्ट है। अब स्टेट को तो मुझे लगता है ऐसे जजमेंट पढ़ती नहीं है गवर्नमेंट, तो है, तो ये बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। तो अब ये सारा सीन जो है मुझे लग रहा है इस तरीके का आ गया है। तो अभी क्या है कि हमें कुछ एक्शन जो है ना करने की जरूरत है इसके अंदर। सोशल जस्टिस तो टोटली आज जो है ना बस एक क्लास डिवाइड है, रिच और पुअर, और वो गैप बड़ा है। आर्टिकल 38 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का कहता है राइट अगेंस्ट एक्सप्लॉयटेशन, रिच और पुअर का गैप बड़े कम होगा, है, इनकम गैप्स को कम किया जाएगा। लेकिन या तो इनकम गैप्स इतनी हो गई हैं कि अब आप मेजरमेंट भी नहीं कर सकते आप, हैं। तो ये सब कुछ जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जो विजन है और जो कुछ हो रहा है रियलिटी में, वो सब उल्टा पुल्टा हो रहा है। अभी आप देखो ना, जो इंडस्ट्रियल लॉ में जो जो वर्कर्स के राइट्स थे, लिमिटेड राइट्स थे, वो भी सारे इस तरीके से उसको 4 कोड्स में डालकर हायर एंड फायर को आपने प्रमोट कर, मतलब एक तरीके से स्टैब्लिश कर दिया। जो जो 100 वर्कर्स तक को अगर आपको निकालना होता था तो परमिशन लेनी होती थी, वो खत्म कर दिया है। उनके आवर्स को चेंज कर दिया है, इतनी लिबर्टीज एम्प्लॉयर्स को दे दी। मैं इसलिए ये वर्कर्स के राइट्स की बात करता हूं कि आज जिन बच्चों के लिए हम बात करते हैं जनरली, और जो अफेक्टेड है, ज्यादा अफेक्टेड है, वो बच्चे इन्हीं के ही हैं। तो आपने उनकी भी जो इकोनॉमिक पोजीशन है वो जो है मतलब बैड से वर्स्ट सिचुएशन में कर लिया। आज हिंदुस्तान में जो लेबर क्लास है, जो फैक्ट्रियों में काम करती है, उनको मिनिमम वेज नहीं मिलता है, किन कंडीशंस में वो रहते हैं, उनके बच्चे भी उसमें रहते हैं। तो ऐसे में कैसी एजुकेशन जो जिसकी हम बात करते हैं वो कैसे मिलेगी? तो मुझे लगता है कि इसमें ना बहुत बहुत मतलब इश्यूज को उठाने की जरूरत है। एक एक बच्चे को इशू को उठाने की जरूरत है। गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम को ठीक करने की जरूरत है, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम अगर ठीक होगा तो ये रिवर्स हो सकता है। मेरा हमेशा कहना यह है कि हिंदुस्तान के अगर सारे गवर्नमेंट स्कूलों को आप केंद्रीय विद्यालय के लेवल पर ले आए तो 48 आवर्स के अंदर आपको 50% जो पेरेंट अपने बच्चों को प्राइवेट स्कूलों में भेजते हैं वो वहां से विड्रॉ करके स्कूलों में डाल देंगे। लेकिन आज कहाँ केंद्रीय विद्यालय में आप सबको एडमिशन मिल सकता है? नहीं मिल सकता। तो इस तरीके के रूल रेगुलेशंस इन्होंने बना रखे हैं कि आपको जो भी सरकारी सिस्टम के अंदर अच्छे स्कूल हैं उनमें दाखिला ही नहीं मिल सकता। तो मेजोरिटी जो है वो वही ऑर्डिनरी स्कूलों के अंदर होगी, जहाँ पानी नहीं होगा, या टीचर नहीं होगा, या क्लीनिनेस नहीं होगी, है, जहाँ पे कोई पढ़ाई का नाम नहीं होगा। ब्लैक बोर्ड अगर आप देखोगे तो उसमें बड़े बड़े छेद मिलेंगे आपको, और छत देखो तो किस वक्त गिर जाए क्लासरूम की, ये भी भरोसा नहीं है। तो एक ऐसा एटमोस्फियर हमें बदलने की जरूरत है, और ये तभी होगा जब हम ग्राउंड लेवल पे जो है इन इश्यूज को उठाएंगे। है, तो बहुत हाई लेवल पे तो बात करना जरूरी है, लेकिन ग्राउंड लेवल पे काम करना बहुत जरूरी है। एक जो मैं कहना चाहता हूं, एक राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट आने के बाद जो है हर एक पेरेंट का राइट है कि वो लोएस्ट कोर्ट के अंदर जो है वो अपनी एप्लीकेशन दे सकता है, अपना केस डाल सकता है। हाई कोर्ट और सुप्रीम कोर्ट में तो पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट लिटिगेशन या रिट पिटिशंस डाल ही सकते हैं, लेकिन वो जो राइट है, जो व्यक्ति हाई कोर्ट तक नहीं जा सकता, सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक नहीं जा सकता, लेकिन दीवानी अदालत जो उसके घर के पास है उसमें जा सकता है और वहां कंप्लेंट कर सकता है कि साहब मेरे स्कूल में पानी नहीं है, मेरे बच्चे के स्कूल में टीचर नहीं है। तो उसमें जो चीफ सेक्रेटरी स्टेट का पार्टी बनाओगे आप, और इस तरीके से अगर मास केसेस डलते हैं लोअर्स लेवल के ऊपर, तो मैं कहता हूं कि बहुत बड़ा हिट एंड रन हो सकता है, बहुत बड़ा चेंज आ सकता है। लेकिन ऊपर के लेवल पे बातें करना तो ठीक है, लेकिन मुझे लगता है नीचे के लेवल पे लोगों की एक एक बच्चे की जो मुद्दा है ना, उसको हमें उठाने की मतलब बहुत जरूरत है। तो ये मतलब बहुत जरूरी है, जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल विजन है कि एक सबको क्वालिटी एजुकेशन मिलेगी, समता, इगेलिटेरियन सोसाइटी की बात करता है ये सब पीछे होती जा रही हैं। अब तो वो चल रहा है मंदिर मस्जिद, ये सब इस पे ध्यान जा रहा है, सुशांत के ऊपर जा रहा है, इस पे जा रहा है। तो हमें वो तो हम रोक नहीं सकते जो जा रहा है, लेकिन हाँ हम ये कर सकते हैं कि जो हमारे एजुकेशनल राइट्स हैं बच्चों के, उनको लेकर हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा, मुझे लगता है कोर्ट भी लोग बहुत हेजिटेट करते हैं कोर्ट जाने में, और ठीक भी है टू सम एक्सटेंट, वो भी ठीक है, लेकिन ये भी समझना चाहिए कि कोर्ट में केस डालने से क्या होता है, वो इशू हाईलाइट होता है। अभी हमने रिसेंटली सीबीएसई का इशू उठाया है कि जो एग्जामिनेशन फीस है वो चार्ज कर रहे हैं बच्चों के साथ, और जैसे दिल्ली जैसे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में 3 लाख बच्चे हैं जो जिनकी हालत इसमें पेंडेमिक में और भी खराब हो गई है पेरेंट्स की, और वो बच्चे दे नहीं पा रहे हैं। लास्ट ईयर दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट ने उनका पेमेंट किया था सीबीएसई का, इस साल उन्होंने हाथ खींच लिया है। प्राइम मिनिस्टर फंड है, प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने इतना फंड इकट्ठा किया है, उसमें से 1 रुपया वो देने को तैयार नहीं है। सीबीएसई जो है सोचने को तैयार नहीं है कि ये जो बच्चे हैं जो पैसे दे ही नहीं पा रहे हैं, उनको क्यों नहीं एग्जाम कर दिया जाए, कुछ सुनने को तैयार नहीं है। अब हाई कोर्ट में केस डाला, हाई कोर्ट ने भी कोई खास रिलीफ हमको नहीं दी, अब हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट में लड़ रहे हैं। मतलब इन चीजों को लड़ने में ये जरूरी नहीं है कि हमको रिलीफ मिले, लेकिन लड़ने में इस तरीके से अगर हम डे टू डे एक एक इशू को उठाते हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि ये हाईलाइट होते हैं, लोगों की नॉलेज में आते हैं, लोग चर्चा करते हैं, और जब चर्चा करते हैं तो एक मजबूती सोच में आती है, और वो कहीं कंक्रीट वे में भी, मेटेरियलिस्टिक फॉर्म में भी कहीं दिखती है। मुझे लगता है ये कंटिन्यूएशन जो है लड़ाई का रहना चाहिए। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, Agarwal ji. Would you like to give a summary of your conflict?
मुझे देखो ना बोलना है मैंने।
Ramurthy ji, would you like to give an
Yeah.
English summary?
Yeah,
of
sure, I can give. Yeah.
Okay.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, sure. Welcome.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, okay. Just let me know in case I am not audible. Good evening and Zindabad to everybody. Honorable Senior Advocate Ashok Agarwal ji spoke excellently about the constitutional provision and road map ahead about how the educational rights can be stored in the future in context of NDP 2020. First and foremost, he talked about the importance of Constitution as document. To him, the Constitution is one of the most important documents which is ever produced by Indian people. It contains lot many provisions which are meant to facilitate people. However, many a time law made on the basis of this Constitution are not made with well intention, and henceforth they could not bring the desired result. So his first emphasis is that the implementation of Constitution, or to secure the constitutional vision, is can be secured only in case we could get a better law and it could be implemented with better spirit. Then he went on to trace all the history of the right to education to some extent, which he started with the inclusion of Article 45 into the Indian Constitution in the Part 4 of the Directive Principle, which contains the provision that from 0 to 14 age, all children will be provided primary education within the 10 years. And he said that though it could not be obtained up to 10 years, but later on many governments passed various legislation and acts in particular with the view to implement this directive principle. He referred in particular the act which was passed by the Delhi government, by which the MCD, Municipal Corporation of Delhi, was authorized to appoint some officer to attend the primary education. He told that there were 12 posts as the officer who were supposed to attend the primary education, but they did not implement it, and later on these posts were not not filled. And later on, the other number of other states ranging up to 22, 23 also passed more or less similar acts, but they were not uh, implemented because government from the highest level did not pay much attention to that. Then he went on to tracing the context of Unni Krishnan judgment, in which it was once again reiterated by the judgment in the Unni Krishnan case, by which court observed that Article 45 of Directive Principle should be read with the Article 21, which is related to life and liberty. And life and liberty also implies dignity, which can be obtained after the by providing education. Without education, one cannot obtain the desired dignity, and there is no difference between human and animal if one is not educated. So after the Unni Krishnan judgment, the once again primary education received serious attention, and many people, while forming various kind of groups, uh, struggled and fought to have a right to education act. So with the result of the various kind of struggle and some of the subsequent judgment, in 2002, 86 constitutional amendment was passed, which led later on to the uh, promulgation of Right to Education Act in 2009. It was passed in 2009 and got promulgated in uh, 1 April 2010. So this article, uh, though, was partial in some extent because it did not include that essence which is given to all the other fundamental rights, simply because it was left itself on the will and whims and fancy of state that state may provide primary education from 6 to 14, the may it may deem possible by law, which simply implies that it is depend upon state to what extent it can spend upon education and what kind of primary education it can provide. So that it was provided, but in somewhat fractured and half-hearted manner, which did not give that essence which is given by the other fundamental rights, such as right to equality, so on and so forth. And then he says that though there were still number of many provisions which were even pro people, for instance, it compelled uh, states to at least to make it sure in the government school that they cannot deny admission to anybody at least from 6 to 14, and they will have to pay uh, all kind of attention up to this level. But then he say that even having this law with us, they did not try to provide reasonable and adequate facility for various kind of provisions which were needed to implement this act in properly. For instance, teachers were not appointed in required manner, infrastructure was not improved upon, and uh, in uh, in contrast to improving upon or implementing it seriously, the state deliberately and in a systematic manner promoted the privatization of education with various models, and they directly or indirectly provided many kind of facilities. Uh, and in today's 2020, we have reached at the stage where privatization is very actively and openly promoted by the state by one or other pretext, and it is presumed almost as if it is not the work of state to improve upon the government system of education. Uh, Sir Agarwal said that uh, it is equally important, besides talking and discussing about the constitutional provision at highest level and the forum like All India Right to Education Forum and similar other forums, but it is equally important to have some action at ground level. He says that so long we will not work at ground level, probably it will be difficult for us to acquire any kind of desirable result. So in order to work at ground level, we propose some uh, salient suggestions which can be undertaken by any group or even an individual. first and foremost, he says that people probably know little that they should know that even normal parents who are residing any vicinity, any locality, they can file a petition to local court while making chief secretary to party that a particular facility is not existing in their school for their ward. It may be clean toilet, drinking water, classroom, teacher, etc. So this simplest step can be undertaken by anybody. If you make a chief secretary party for that purpose and file a petition even in a lower court, that issue will be highlighted. And it can be a really hit and run uh, method of highlighting the issue according to Sir Ashok Agarwal, whereby many people can brought this issue into public domain and larger discussion can be uh, uh, done or larger discussion can be promoted in that aspect. Similarly, he tries to say that there are number of other issues which can be raised through various other processes such as writing and discussing the issue at the local level. So long we don't act at ground level, probably uh, talking at the highest level or discussion at forum like this one will not yield the desirable fruits. Those have its own importance which cannot be uh, reduced at all by any means. Further, he said that we need to understand that when in 2020 this very government is absolutely ready to divert public intention to a non-issue and where they don't want to bring the public education to public as a prime subject and they are totally abdicating its responsibility. We, the citizen of India, will have to bring back this issue in the realm of discussion, and we will have to channelize all kind of available forces and channel to get these things rectified. So it can be done through the ground level action. And as he told that recently, his organization, who is general secretary, and even at the capacity of advocates, they undertook the issue of examination, exemption of examination fee by the CBSE to the students who are not able to pay it in the during COVID situation or otherwise. He said that nobody is able to hear, nobody is ready to pay attention in this regard. Last year, government of Delhi has exempted some amount to some students, but this year even government of Delhi did not support. And he specifically mentioned that huge money has been amassed on the name of Prime Minister's Care Fund, but this Prime Minister and his associate are not at all ready to spend even a single penny for the cause of the education of children of India, and they are even not trying to pursue the uh, CBSE kind of organization to exempt the examination fees from the student, which we are simply demanding. And we, after not receiving desirable or considerable relief from High Court, they are fighting this case now at Supreme Court with the hope that something or other should come from the Supreme Court itself. And lastly, he said uh, that we need to look at the other legislation also in this regard. For instance, the industrial law which had been passed by the central government simply to reduce the various emoluments of the workers. These are also meant to weaken the working section. So since children who study in the government school are basically belong to working community, therefore these issues are equally important to be raised by people like us. Therefore, it is important for us to look at all those issues with an attention, and we need to take action at various levels. Thank you so much. Good evening, Lalpan. Jindabad. Thank you, Lalpan. Hello.
Okay. Thank you. Ashok ji, can I just flag some? I mean, some
Sure.
question if you like. Can we take some questions now?
जैसे आपको ठीक लगे, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, या बाद में ले लें, जैसे
नहीं,
आपको ठीक लगे. आई एम विद यू. मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. जैसे ऑर्गेनाइजर्स का जैसे भी आइडिया है, लेट अस गो बाय दैट. नो प्रॉब्लम.
Okay.
यू कैन टेक क्वेश्चंस.
चलिए, मैं शुरू करता हूँ, देन
हाँ.
अदर्स विल टेक
जी
इट
जी.
ऑन. मेरा मतलब एक तो ये सवाल है
हाँ.
कि जो हमारी चिंताएं हैं उसी से हमारे सवाल जनरेट हो रहे हैं, तो मैं उसी से ही जोड़ के पूछूंगा. एक तो ये कि ये जो राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट है, वो ठीक है, हम लोग हमेशा उसकी कमियां निकालते रहे. यू नो, आई मीन, वी हैव बीन टॉकिंग अबाउट द लिमिटेशंस ऑफ द आरटी एक्ट, बट दैट इज अपार्ट. I mean, the other concerns that is emerging at this juncture, इस समय जो दूसरी चिंता जो हमें परेशान कर रही है, वो ये है, which is about the manner in which the new education policy, is kind of diluting the even the Right to Education Act further. So, and I mean, we have learned that even the policy of 1966, which just came through a resolution of the government. So similarly, even this policy is coming, through a resolution of the government. So its significance cannot be therefore, just underestimated. Fine. So given this kind of a context, I mean, what are your observations? I mean, about this concern. This is one, and this second is about commercialization, which is like this. What do we do when a policy itself is trying to blur the distinction between the public and the private? And that is very much apparent, clear at many levels in this policy itself, right? And the last from my side, मतलब दूसरा ये है कि जब ये पॉलिसी खुद पब्लिक और प्राइवेट के बीच के फर्क को मिटाती जा रही है, तो उस दौर में हमारे लिए क्या कानूनी स्थिति बनेगी, और उसके लिए क्या रोड मैप फॉर एक्शन भी हो सकता है जब ये पॉलिसी ही वो डिस्टिंक्शन को खत्म करे. एंड द लास्ट थिंग आई वांट टू टॉक अबाउट इज, because you have been fighting so many cases about teachers also, and because I think one of the reasons is that you understand that until there are good permanent teachers, good quality education is not possible within the public sector. So I mean, what is your take on what are your observations on the attitude of the NEP 2020 towards teachers? These are three questions that I have in mind. कि शिक्षकों के प्रति इस शिक्षा नीति का जो रवैया है, उसके बारे में आपका क्या मानना है? अगर पब्लिक एजुकेशन सिस्टम को इम्प्रूव करना है, तो ये किस हद तक मददगार साबित होगी, या इसमें क्या बाधक तत्व मौजूद हैं? That is what from my side.
हमें ये समझना पड़ेगा कि देखिए, जो गवर्नमेंट्स होती हैं, चाहे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट है या स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स है, ये उनकी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल ड्यूटी है कि वो राइट टू एजुकेशन को जो है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल स्पिरिट के अंदर प्रमोट करें. लेकिन हुआ क्या है इस देश के अंदर, शुरू से ही लगभग ना तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के प्रोविजंस को ही इम्प्लीमेंट किया गया, ना लॉज को इम्प्लीमेंट किया गया, ना पॉलिसीज को इम्प्लीमेंट किया, चाहे वो 68 की पॉलिसी है, चाहे 86 की पॉलिसी है, और अभी जो 2020 की पॉलिसी है, ये तो बिल्कुल ही मजाक है, इन द सेंस कि कोई इसमें, मतलब अभी मैं सुन रहा था मोदी जी कह रहे थे कि वो जो पहले एजुकेशन सिस्टम था, वो ऐसा था जैसे वो एक गाड़ी है और वो चढ़ गई है, बेकार हो गई है. मतलब उनका कहना यह है कि सारी जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम अभी तक चल रहा था वो बिल्कुल बेकार था. ये एक नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है जो बहुत ही क्रांतिकारी है और सब कुछ बदल देगी. अब समझ में नहीं आया कौन सा बदल देगी, किसको बदल देगी. आप के जो आउट ऑफ स्कूल चिल्ड्रन है वो और भी ज्यादा बाहर हो गए हैं. आप इसमें कह रहे हैं कि प्राइवेटाइजेशन को हम प्रमोट करेंगे, हैं, और कोई आपके पास कोई भी वो नहीं है कि आप किस तरीके से जो है गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स को स्ट्रेंथन करेंगे, कैसे बच्चों को लाएंगे। आप कह रहे हैं कि हम अगले 10 साल के अंदर जो है सारे आउट ऑफ स्कूल चिल्ड्रन जो है वो ले आएंगे। अब 10 साल वेट करेंगे क्या? आज जो 16 साल का है वो 26 साल का हो जाएगा 10 साल के अंदर। तो मतलब कोई कहीं सीरियसनेस कुछ नजर नहीं आ रही है। और ये एक जुमले की तरह है गवर्नमेंट का, मोदी जी का, कि सबको ये देते रहो, बताते रहो कि जो है एक इल्यूजन क्रिएट करते रहो कि ये पॉलिसी जो है बस अब आ गई है, अब सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा, सब बच्चों को जो है बहुत बढ़िया एजुकेशन हो जाएगी, एजुकेशन हो जाएगी तो नौकरियां मिल जाएंगी और ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा। लेकिन ये कुछ भी नहीं है। जो प्रोसेस ऑलरेडी चल रहा है उसी का ये कंटिन्यूएशन है, और भी ये उसका जो है और भी बैड शेप में है, क्योंकि और भी एग्रेसिव वे में जो है ये प्राइवेटाइजेशन कमर्शियलाइजेशन को जो है एजुकेशन में कर रहे हैं। और इसका रिजल्ट ये होगा कि जो ऑलरेडी मार्जिनलाइज्ड हैं वो फर्दर मार्जिनलाइज्ड हो जाएंगे, गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम जो है और कोलैप्स हो जाएगा है। और ये जो टटपुंजिया स्कूल्स हैं, प्राइवेट स्कूल्स, ये और आ जाएंगे है। इसमें भी 80% स्कूल तो ऐसे हैं जो बजट स्कूल्स हैं, जिनको एक्चुअली में बंद हो जाना चाहिए है कानून के हिसाब से, और जहाँ कोई प्रॉपर एजुकेशन नहीं है, प्रॉपर सिस्टम नहीं है। तो ये सारा बिल्कुल बहुत ज्यादा बुरी हालत हो रही है। और जहां तक टीचर्स की बात है, टीचर्स में हमने ये देखा है कि जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट्स हैं उनके, और जो जिस तरीके से उनकी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, एक नहीं है, पूरा सिस्टम एक तरीके से सेटबैक हो रहा है। अब आप जैसी प्राइवेट एजुकेशनल जो टीचर्स को ट्रेनिंग देने वाले इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, वो किस तरीके के टीचर्स पैदा कर रहा है? आप घर में बैठे रहिए, आपको सारे सर्टिफिकेट्स मिल जाएंगे, आपकी ट्रेनिंग का भी मिल जाएगा, आपको एकेडमिक एजुकेशन का भी मिल जाएगा। और मैं आपको एक इंस्टेंस बताता हूँ। एक बार मेरे पास टीचर्स थे स्पेशल एजुकेटर्स, उनके मैं केस कर रहा था। तो मैंने ये देखा कि ये जो इसका सर्टिफिकेट है वो कहीं और का है। तो मैंने उससे पूछा, कोई मध्य प्रदेश का कोई इंस्टीट्यूशन था, तो मैंने कैंडिडेट से पूछा, जो लेडी कैंडिडेट थी, कि भाई ये जो इंस्टीट्यूट है ये है कहाँ? कह रहे मुझे तो पता ही नहीं है। मतलब कैंडिडेट को यही नहीं पता है कि कौन से इंस्टीट्यूट से उसने जो है स्पेशल एजुकेशन की टीचर ट्रेनिंग करी है। और ये एक नहीं है, क्योंकि ये इजी है, पैसे दो, सर्टिफिकेट लो, तो एवरीबॉडी रन्स फॉर दैट। तो वो अल्टीमेटली रिफ्लेक्ट करता है फिर जिस तरीके से सरकार भर्ती करती है, 12 दो हजार 3 हजार रुपए में आप टीचर्स भर्ती करते हैं उन, और वो भी पूरे नहीं रखते हैं, क्वालिफाइड टीचर्स नहीं है, कॉम्पिटेंसी नहीं है, लोगों में इच्छा शक्ति नहीं है, एटमॉस्फेयर नहीं है, कंड्यूसिव एटमॉस्फेयर नहीं है। अब मैं ये नहीं कहता कि प्राइवेट स्कूल्स के अंदर जो एजुकेशन है टीचर बहुत अच्छी देता है, ऐसा मैं नहीं कह रहा है। लेकिन जो वहां पे थोड़ा सा तो प्रेशर होता है मैनेजमेंट का, यहाँ किसी के ऊपर कोई प्रेशर ही नहीं है। राजनीति करो, सुबह अपना फूल का गुलदस्ता जो है वो मिनिस्टर साहब के घर में दे आओ, एंड एवरीथिंग इज ओके। तो ये सारा का सारा, और मुझे लगता है कि इसमें टीचर्स का जो रोल है, टीचर्स का रोल है, टीचर्स के जो जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस का रोल है, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। ये लोग खुद महसूस, इनको समझ में नहीं आ रही है कि अगर ये लोग इस व्यवस्था के खिलाफ लड़ेंगे नहीं और पब्लिक एजुकेशन सिस्टम को स्ट्रेंथन नहीं करेंगे, तो आने वाले समय के अंदर गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम का स्कूल सिस्टम बिल्कुल कोलैप्स हो जाएगा, बिल्कुल खत्म हो जाएगा। कोई एम्प्लॉयमेंट, आज देखो ना, आज जो सरकारी स्कूलों में एम्प्लॉयमेंट है, नई एम्प्लॉयमेंट है, वो है ही नहीं। म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन ने हाई कोर्ट को बताया है कि हमें अब आगे भविष्य में, क्योंकि हमारी एनरोलमेंट कम हो गई है म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन के स्कूलों में, इसलिए हमें भविष्य में प्राइमरी टीचर्स की जरूरत ही नहीं है। तो इस बात को मुझे लगता है टीचर, जिसको हम कहते हैं कॉन्शियस क्लास है, वो खुद भी अगर नहीं सोचेगा तो ये तो हम अपने पैरों पे कुल्हाड़ी मार रहे हैं और सिस्टम को मतलब जो भी है वो कर रहे हैं। तो इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि टीचर्स का बहुत बड़ा रोल है, इनको लीडिंग रोल प्ले करना चाहिए। टीचर्स जो है बैकबोन है एजुकेशन सिस्टम की। और ये 220 जो है ना, ये तो टोटली फ्रॉड है। 220 पॉलिसी जो है गवर्नमेंट की, ये तो एक्सट्रीमली फ्रॉड है। और जिस तरीके के ये लोग प्रोपेगेंडा में लगे हुए हैं, ये वही है कि लोगों को जो है दिमागी तौर पे जो है वे उसको ब्रेन वॉश करते रहो और नीचे से जो है उनको नीचे से काटते रहो। तो ये सब चीजें हैं, मुझे लगता है जो गंभीर है, और हर एक व्यक्ति को मतलब ये समझना चाहिए और इसके लिए एक्शन कुछ करना चाहिए, कुछ लड़ाई करना चाहिए। आई थिंक आई हैव आंसर्ड योर क्वेश्चंस।
Thank you, sir. There are a few questions in the chat. We have Manchala Gangadhar ji. He is our member of the Presidium and Secretariat. His question is that some PIL have been filed in the court for teachers and other facilities in government schools, but nothing have not, but things have not changed. What to do?
नहीं देखिए अभी अगर हम दिल्ली का एग्जांपल लें और
Sir,
हमने
can you talk in English because we
okay
have
okay if we take example of Delhi
And in fact, Ashok ji, Dr. Gangadhar hails from Hyderabad, so he will understand in English. That is one.
okay,
And
okay.
secondly, I mean, he is not only the treasurer of AFRT, but he is the founding president of a teachers organization, which has been very, very active for last 40 years almost now. So it's a question coming from such an experienced person.
Very nice, Gangadhar ji. What I am saying is that if we take the example of Delhi, in 1997 itself, I filed the first case. It was the first case in the country highlighting absence of basic amenities in municipal and Delhi government schools. And then High Court took cognizance of that and monitored for years. And now you can see a change as far as infrastructure is concerned. A lot of change has taken place during the last 22 years. As far as teachers is concerned, I think I have filed around 5-6 cases in the last 22 years. And I got an order in 2001, December 2001, from the division bench of Delhi High Court, which says that government will ensure that when academic session is commenced, there should be a zero teacher vacancy. And since they have not complied with that order, they are facing contempt proceedings in the court. The courts are really pulling them and pushing them. So something is happening, but that is not enough. We have to fight from outside, and outside fight should be even more aggressive than the fight taking place in the courts. The advantage of fighting cases in the court is, I may tell you very frankly, that it gets highlighted in the press. And if it highlighted in the press, it has a meaning. So it itself, a fight in a court is important. It is not important whether you ultimately get a good judgment or bad judgment. But if you have an issue, you must. And I may also tell you that in this area of education, I have seen judges by and large helping children and parents. And they are themselves doing a lot of work on it once the matter are brought to them. So we have to, but there has to be people who can well present their cases in the court. They really their understanding should be very high, proper, clean mind, clean thought, clean objective. All these things are required. I think for that we need to have deliberations. How that we can achieve, how we can produce people who can come on the front and fight in the courts and in the and on the ground. Now if you I really I'm not happy with the teaching community. I for the reason that they rightly talk about their conditions, give us salary, give us regularization. They are right, but they never fight for the rights of the children. What is required is that parents, students, and teacher, they must come together. They are allies, and they must fight against, in case of private school, against private management, private school management, against the government, against the system. That is not happening. In how many cases the teachers' organizations have taken the issues of the children? How many? So that is we must introspect ourselves also and find out what is bad is happening because of so many bad things which is taking place. So we have to correct that. So as far as teachers are concerned, without that, education cannot be there, and good education means good teachers. So that has to be done. That's all for the time being.
Thank you, sir. There is another question from Dr. Madhu Prasad. She is also senior member of All India Forum for Right to Education. The biggest blow to the public funded education has come from the numerous low budget English medium schools and the 25% quota for EWS in elite public schools. This followed in 2010 the 2 decades low cost steps in schools and the recourse to private NGOs to improve government schools. Between them, these steps really destroyed the government school system. So what are your thoughts on that?
No, I don't agree at all that because of this 25% inclusive education, the government schools are suffering. Let us see the figures. Let us see the figures of out of school children. Has it not increased? Today we need forget 25% admissions of EWS. We need even double infrastructure, double teachers, number of teachers for covering all the children who are out of school. That is not happening. Whose fault is? We have not been able to perform in the government school. That is the reason parents are withdrawing. That is why I have said that if we perform well, you will see that parents will withdraw their children from private school and come here. And as far as this 25%, I don't understand, when we hit the rich, we hit the system, some people feel, no, this is bad. And they find reasons to criticize it. You just talk to any parent whose child is getting admission under EWS, ask him, how do you feel? He says, मुझे तो मतलब मैं कभी ख्वाब में भी नहीं सोच सकता था कि मेरा बच्चा जो है उसको अच्छी एजुकेशन मिले. और जब when he is getting education, we are making it an issue, saying that this is adversely affecting the this government system. I think I don't agree with it at all. I think this is totally, and because of that, the enrollment is not going down, not because of that, because of non-performance of government schools, enrollment is going down. That is the only reason. And if you perform well, not only EWS student, even those parents who are paying fees to the private school, they will bring their children back to this. So we, instead of finding fault with ourselves, we are trying to shift our blame to the others, justifying our action. I think I'm very clear about it. Thank you. Sorry.
I might clarify these things. You see, I'm not willing to. I'm the reason why I mention these particular things is not because I've got any problem with a poor child going to a school for rich children. Although, yes, I do have a problem, but those problems we can discuss at a different level. But what I want to see is that I see these strategies being adopted by the government in order to destroy government schooling as an education system. I don't want to have schools for the poor, because those schools will never be good schools. We know that. Why is it that the same government can run Kendriya Vidyalayas, can run Navodaya Vidyalayas, and they're running beautifully? At least they used to. I don't know, maybe even they are not now. But I'm saying, if you say, see what has happened, we have lost the concept of an education system. We now have, how can we give charity to the children of the poor? How can we see that they also get education? It's the government's responsibility to get them education. It's our responsibility to demand that education. And we got completely diverted into lionizing private schooling, which quite frankly is really not a good system of education. They take people from upper class backgrounds, people whose parents can afford to send them to coaching classes and give them tutorial and so on and so forth, and then make them become rote learners because they're drilled well in all that. But that is not a good education. And in the bargain, in dividing up this system like this, we have actually lost the concept of an education system. And if the children of the poor and the children of the well-to-do and the children of the middle class in India have to have a good education, and the fundamental right to education applies to all of them. If they have to get a good education, then what we have to do is to set up a decent system of education. Is all I want to say. बहुत बोल लिया.
Okay, I think let's move on. I think, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think these two are, I mean, in AFRT we have been maintaining this. I mean, Madhuji has hinted very well about it, and we had longer discussions about it. But I think since the series aims to have diversity of opinions, so I think it's a good dialogue. Ashokji would remember, I mean, I had also taken a different stand on this issue, even in our Allahabad National Assembly. So that continues to be. Also, we know that, I mean, Ashokji has been fighting for this issue. In fact, it started even before the RT acted in Delhi, and he was fighting for it. But there is, Ashokji, I mean, there is at least that concern, what Madhuji is saying, that, if this is good education, if there is a craving amongst parents that, okay, so this is the good education, then again, there is a discrimination. Why only 25% of them? Even if we agree that is 25%, it is not 25%, is a different matter. But, why only 25% of children? But this is not 25%, because, I mean, we have some 30% schools now in the private sector. And, it's a 25% of that in class 1. And also that, as you have yourself said, out of this 30%, 80%, so which means like, I mean, so if the 30, of this 30%, 80% are pathetic budget primary schools, so by going there, they are anyhow not getting good education. So there is that question. I mean, what we are saying is that let us continue this dialogue. There is an understanding, a prevalent understanding, while there is a kind of a more, fundamental diagnosis that this is how it is changing the entire discourse. The discourse that there is a good education which is provided in private school, and therefore let us go there. So, I mean, it will make the fight for government school system, improving government school system, more difficult. I mean, you may be knowing it as lawyer, but we in the academics, at least, I mean, we see really how the whole discourse has changed. And I know the discourse does impact upon the policy formulation also. The overall discourse has changed. I mean, how quality education can be provided. So now the discourse over last couple of decades is that, so let us help this, let the state limit itself, to only providing some resources. In fact, there is this magazine called Education World, which is generally provided in, airlines and elite places. And Professor Hargopal brought to our notice, and we have used one of the essays written by Sudhir Thakur. And then we have been following it up. In Telangana, this is happening. Andhra, this is happening. In Ramlila Maidan, 2 years back, they organized a rally, the private sector. They are literally demanding that you state withdraw from school education. But since there is a Right to Education Act, so you keep providing us the money. You continue reimbursing. This is an alliance of the budget private school. They're saying that you continue providing us the money, reimburse whatever you can, and gradually increase the reimbursement quota. We will provide education to children. And interestingly, what has happened, I think it is our, since it's Ashokji is a traveler with us in this struggle, so I'm sharing with him. We observed that the writings of this alliance, Center for Civil Society, which then built another front called, what is that called? National Alliance of Independent Schools, a very elusive name. The language of their documents is precisely echoed in the document of the Niti Aayog, the action agenda for 2017 to 2020. And quite a lot of resemblance of that you see even in the draft of education policy. So what we're saying, I mean, exactly the private sector is now asking. They have built up a lobby. I mean, they really mobilize. They mobilize 1 lakh people in Ramlila Maidan on 17th April, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 17th April 2000, what was that? 18, I think, yeah, or 14th April. And in Telangana and Andhra, there have been huge television debates where this corporate lobby is coming face to face. They are arguing against us, saying, no, we can provide better education. So why does state need to take this up? I hope, I mean, I'm reaching out to you, Ashokji. Like, exactly now we are seeing this happening. They are demanding the state to withdraw from the sphere of education. I know people like you will never allow that to happen. You will pull them in the court. But what we are seeing on the ground, it's no longer what we were speculating earlier 10 years back. Now we see that very much happening. And they are calculating that if the state withdraws, how much profit we can make from India's education system, how much profit we will get out of school education, how much profit we will get out of pre-primary education, how much profit we will get out of higher education if it is handed over to private sector, where state at best reimburses some money. So we are facing this difficult challenge before us today, Ashokji. That since we know that this is happening, we keep reading and listening about it, we really realize that, whether they are really becoming more and more successful in dividing us. That is the challenge that we are facing today. With full agreement to you that if the government system improves, then the parents of any class, whether rich or poor, they would like to send their children to government schools. Why to pay? That is the minimum logic they will apply. But on the other hand, there is a powerful lobby, and I have only given you name of the domestic capital. I have still not spoken about, in the typical, our left political ways in which I could have drawn examples from World Bank, UNESCO, etc., etc. I have not done that. I'm talking of exactly the kind of union they have developed, and they are in a position to mobilize, their non-teaching staff and teachers in buses through Ramlila Maidan in much greater number than what we can do today. So I think, that is
simple. They are in fact, they are clear in their agenda. They are united. They are powerful, becoming more powerful day after day. They have a backing of government. But see to ourselves, are we united? Are we openly discussing our things? Are we clear about our agenda? That is a difference. We have to be. We have to come out of us and say, yes, this is a problem. Yeah, we are hesitating. That is the problem. They are very clear. They are very open. What they are doing, not in darkness. They are saying openly, give us freedom. This is also a very important thing. I don't know whether I am right or not.
No, it's not. It's not really a question of being right or wrong. I mean, we agree with what you said, but we are just adding on to that these are the newer developments.
I have never seen people coming forward and discussing openly by heart. Yes, this is the problem. We are not doing this thing. We should raise this. When School of Excellence were opened, any teacher community raised the issue. Why you have opened it? Why you have put one more layer of school? Why you have created a discriminatory school? Nobody. But we are more interested in always or the talking other things. So that is a problem. Na? Matlab,
No, no. we understand, yeah.
it's a problem. We allow things to come and then we blame in other way. Why? Nobody is objecting. Nobody is raising the issues. I'm not blaming. I'm not saying I am only person raising the issue. But this has to come up jointly. How many teachers are there? How many parents are there? They are big in number. How many number of the schools? Very small.
No, it's a
But they are
challenge.
united. We are
It's a
not
challenge.
united. We are only interested in Jugaadbaji. We have to come out of that. I'm just
No, you're right. I mean,
clearing
of course,
my
it's
thoughts.
a big challenge to unite
Yeah.
all those people
Yeah.
who can fight in favor of public education system. In
And
fact,
this 25%, I may tell you, when I took it in 2000, 2002, I took it. Very consciously I took it. I thought कि यार ये जो rich लोग हैं इनको हम कहीं हिट ही नहीं करते हैं क्या मैं गरीब आदमी मेरा बच्चा स्कूल में नहीं पढ़ सकता है they have taken land on a throwaway prices and not providing and not following the conditions of land allotment. I hated the system. What is wrong in that? And I
अब
may
उस
also tell
25% को हम
I
100%
may
में
also tell
बदलने
you,
की
even
लड़ाई लड़
governments
रहे हैं.
are not interested in this 25%. I have talked to so many secretaries of different states. They always say, no, we can't give this money to them. We are not interested. And they are putting conditions one way or another. First, go to government school. If government schools refuse admission only, then you will go to that. They are trying to put obstacles to that. But they never think that we should improve our... You don't have water, drinking water. You don't have toilet facility. You don't have sitting arrangement. You don't have teachers in the school. Unqualified teachers, underpaid teachers. So you are not correcting your system. So unless you correct your system, the problem is from that. Even I have seen in government schools in Delhi, a government school which performs better than others. Every parent wants to send children to that government school. And they are fighting. And you will see the rush there. It is not these things which is not possible. It is all possible. It is the need of the hour. People don't have money. And I may also tell you, a parent, whether a literate, rich or poor, he knows where his child can get good education. If we are able to produce good schools, you will find all will come to us. Nobody will go. And this is all happening in the world over. Here we are ourselves not interested that our school should perform well.
Sir, there are a few more questions in the chat. And again from Mr. Gangadhar, that giving even school education to the children of poor and ordinary level in reality has become not the state obligation after NEP 1986. So that's a comment which you've already. There is another question from another member from Northeast, Sujit. He thanks for putting your opinion regarding private budget schools and elite. But the truth is that this government schools cannot improve as long as government patronize the private schools. Private, both elite and budget, are to survive only when the government schools fail, not the vice versa. Failing of government funded system is enabling condition to make private schools grow. Please, what would you advise on this?
No, I agree with him. I agree. It is a deliberate design by the government to promote private schools and to demolish the government school. They can run military school. They can run Kendriya Vidyalaya. They can run Navodaya Vidyalaya. They can run so many very, very good school of excellence in Delhi. RPVV school in Delhi. They can do, but only for few. So they can do, but point is that what is our role? Are we playing our role correctly, clearly? with clear aim, with united fight, giving a united fight. That is important. We are not united. We are not united at all. Our opposite people are united. They are small in number, but united. Government is with them. That is what it is happening. We have to deliberate upon how we can come together with all clarities, line of action, proceed that. There will be a failure, learn from failure, then proceed, do something. This is what I am just sharing myself.
There is another question from Ramamurthy. Say that, in your opinion, why teacher organization didn't understand this plain truth, that their attitude and non-responsive commitment towards the stakeholders is detrimental to their own interests?
So they understand. They are after all teachers. They understand everything, but they don't act. If you are taking salary and you are not going to school, and we have seen cases earlier, many cases where proxy teacher is appointed. Proxy teacher is appointed. I may tell you one instance about maybe 10 years old, 12 years old story. I was in Gwalior. A delegation of teachers union came to me to meet me. I asked them one question. At that time, this Mitra teacher, they were only getting 2,000 rupees, and Madhya Pradesh has appointed hundreds and hundreds of these teachers, these teachers, Mitra teacher. So I asked them that they are not trained. You people are trained. They have not got the training at all. What do you think, how they are able to teach the students? The delegation people told me, Mr. Agarwal, they are teaching well. But how they can teach when they don't have a training? They say, I asked them that training means skill. So they said we have ourselves never used our skill. So they are teaching as we were teaching. So this is the kind of things I may tell you. I feel sorry so many times, but still we have to fight and achieve. With the government, we can improve. It is not that we can't improve, and we have to improve. We have to improve. There is no alternative. There is no choice at all. And the energy we put to blame others, I think we should improve ourselves.
Sir, you made a very important point of parents going to the local courts. Can we have some kind of model application which they can raise, or which could be taken so that the legal issue are defined in that? Is it under Service Act or something else?
Yes. In fact, it's about 5-6 years back, I went to the Haryana and find that in one school there was no teacher there was no teacher for class 8 at all. So I told them, you parent can move to the civil court. I drafted a petition for them, but nobody carried it. I drafted it, I circulated it, a civil suit for mandatory injunction. I'm still ready to work. I think we have to fight at the ground level, and if we are able to put more and more cases, it will blow the system. It can blow the system.
So I think
I may also tell you that our judicial officers are very much interested. Though according to our class concept, we see them as a class character belonging to the rich and the mighty people. But as far as education is concerned, I may tell you, these judicial officers are very much helpful. Once a matter goes to them, they themselves guide parents. They take a lot of interest and they feel obliged that you have raised this issue. Young judicial officers want a change, but we must explore that. And that is very easy. A petition is filed and parent himself goes and stand, nothing argument. It's so clear. If water is not there, government can't have an answer. And if we are able to file hundreds and hundreds of cases all over the country, the entire government will be in fix and things will move. I don't say that ultimately everything will be achieved, but these are small things I think we should put it.
I think that's a good suggestion, and we would appreciate to have one model draft so that we can mobilize some of the.
No, I can help. Even sometimes I can go and appear for them. I don't mind it. I am 24/7 available for these people.
No, Ashokji, the point that our chairperson is making is like this. Of course, in Delhi and neighboring states, of course, I mean, we can also make use of your services. But can we really think? Let me first inform you that in the All India Forum, in the Presidium Secretariat, we have been thinking that, of course, immediately we are focusing on this NEP 2020 question. But our next move is to evolve a constructive program in defense of public education system, and which has two parts. One will be, of course, maybe drafting an alternative policy, and second is, I mean, like using the existing legal framework. How can we defend, the existing public education system? So for that, I mean, let us think. I mean, after this, what kind of some templates? There are certain common issues. Some problem will be in one school, some problem will be in another school. So in case we could prepare some templates, we can campaign around. I mean, since we have a network with more than 200 organizations now, we can really go to them and ask them to stand up and raise this issue. Ask the parents, or the local community people to go to the court and take up this issue. And then, of course, we can seek wherever needed your help continuously. But we would really be benefited in case we can plan subsequently, some templates, I mean, about teacher, about about other infrastructure facilities that you're talking about accessibility, about children with disabilities, all those kinds of issues. So some kind of templates. I mean, we are rather seeking your commitment, which you have already given.
I'm ready for everything, but I think that as far as drafts are concerned, I can prepare that. As far as training is concerned, I can give legal training to our parents. They do not need to be a lawyer, I may tell you. Lawyers, you can't depend upon lawyers. Lawyers is very difficult to find out. But people themselves can be trained. Some social activists can be trained if they are very serious.
Yeah.
So, and other way is that we can hold a discussion and somebody take a note of that and prepare all these things which you are saying.
Even your
then
webinar,
we can finalize it.
Even your webinar notes will be prepared and will be transcribed. So we are doing that.
We can discuss on this particular, whatever you are saying, na? This. We can discuss, and somebody can prepare a draft. What is the teacher? How the teacher can do this all question and answers, and then we can finalize the draft. But if you say everything I should write, it will not be possible.
No.
Somebody should do it, and then we can again discuss and we can finalize and let us work. Work is more important than discussion.
Ashok, is it possible for us to raise this issue in some form legally? That can the government actually hand over its right to provide a fundamental right? Can they actually hand over this right to the private sector? Is there no, I don't know what the legality of this thing is.
That you see, 11 judges bench judgment, TMA Pai. You have said that you have a fundamental, every person has a fundamental right to establish school, and there's a lot of difficulty, but only two important things: regulate private schools fee. They should not be allowed to profit, but do whatever is law available. And at the same time, we should improve our government schools. There is no other way of dealing with this problem. We must regulate them. We must force them that whatever fees is justified, you can't take even a single paisa more than that. I think many schools will be closed, many private schools.
Ashokji, sorry, this prompts me again. Justice Ganguly in our Chennai conference, which was attended by 2,500 or 3,000 people, he suggested, I don't remember exactly, but he suggested that now there is a time to actually even get the TMA Pi judgment reversed by the Supreme Court. Okay, so I mean, like, was it by a constitutional bench, or I mean, what could be a, like, because when somebody like Justice Ganguly, I mean, leave apart what happened subsequently, but of this stature is suggesting, of course, we couldn't be probed further from him because of the tightly schedule of the conference. But can we think of something about that? I mean,
No, Supreme Court has no time for all these cases. We all know. Uh, This is one thing. Second is only you can bring changes in the constitution. Now, if we take the issue of minority schools that have been excluded in 2012 judgment from the right to education, and whenever I talk about bring minority schools within right to education, many people say why you are saying against minorities. We should not talk about anything about minorities. Why not?
hmm,
We need to be open. We need to be open. Why a child going to a minority school, he is not governed by the Right to Education Act. A child going to a government school is or non-minority school is governed by Right to Education Act. How you can make a distinction between A child and B child?
But the children going to Kendriya Vidyalayas, etc., are also not governed by the Right to Education Act.
No,
Children
no,
with
they
private
are
schools,
no,
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 children going
they are governed. They are governed.
then why is that, Ashok? Are you sure? Because
Yes,
they also are treated as, yeah.
in fact, I may tell you, in 2011, when they had to implement this 25% in Kendriya Vidyalaya, what they did,
Huh,
earlier they were giving this SC/ST reservation,
huh, huh,
100% reservation.
huh.
When this 2010 law came, what they did, they stopped entire reservation
Exactly,
and transferred to the 25%.
25%.
Means if there is a class of 40, then 6 will be scheduled caste, 3 will be scheduled tribe, and only one rest of the things. So I said, how you can create a subclass, subdivision between a division? The already reservation within reservation, and
Right.
High Court quashed their action, saying that no, every child has to be considered as equal, and then they changed their this admission process.
But Ashok, only this 25% quota is covered in with the Kendriya Vidyalayas, like with private schools. Kendriya
Others also,
Vidyalayas
of
are not
course,
neighborhood schools.
No, of course they have been they have been termed as specified
Special
schools.
schools, exactly.
Specified schools, not special schools.
Huh.
Specified schools.
Specified schools, which
school as a
includes
definition.
scenic schools and yeah.
But they can be controlled. We need to bring lot of changes in the law. The law itself is bad.
Yeah,
you have to make
I agree.
it good. And
I agree with you on that.
People say it is not implemented. Law is good, but it is not implemented. I say law is bad. It is
Bad.
well implemented. Well implemented it is.
Ashokji, just may I ask one question? As your reasoning suggests that if we can ask government to regulate the private school, in that sense, the provision of NEP 2020, which recommends the reduction of standard in regulation, or to make a flexible regulation related to various restrictions imposed upon private schools. So, can these provisions be challenged? According to
it has to be examined. It has to be examined.
It's there in section 7 and 8, and I would request your good self to kindly look at it.
But
it seems that it should be challenged as per that reasoning.
But sir, we must understand policy is not the law.
Yeah.
Policy is not a law. Policy is not a in that mandatory document which enforceable at law. It is only a policy. Whether how 1986 How many things they have implemented out of it? They have
But on the
gone.
basis of
They have
इसके
gone the
देखिए
way they
वो
wanted to go.
जी,
Now again they will go. And this policy itself, as I've said, that Modi ji said that earlier the education was bad. It was a
yeah,
bad education earlier. Now we have come up
yeah.
with a good education. This policy is a good education policy. What it means?
नहीं मतलब बाद में अगर वो उस नॉर्म को फ्लेक्सिबल बनाते हैं, जो उसका पूरा मतलब ये समझ में आ रहा है, उसकी रिकमेंडेशन है कि जो शेड्यूल वाला है एजुकेशन में, जिसमें वो है ना कि इतना ग्राउंड होना चाहिए, इतने कमरे होने चाहिए, वो सीधे सीधे सजेस्ट करता है कि नॉर्म्स को ढीले कर दो. तो मान लो ये ढीले की जाते हैं, तो आपको लगता है कि क्या ये मतलब राइट टू एजुकेशन का जो शेड्यूल को ढीला करना, should it be challenged to court of law as violation of RT itself?
I think it is need not to be challenged, because constitution is there. We should ask for implementation of constitution when this right to education was not there, when Article 21A was not there. I fought from 1997 to 2010. I filed more than 500 cases in High Court and Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And nobody could question that. We don't have a law on how much water is to be provided in the school. Court said, you have to do it. These are the basic things. Everybody understands it. And now we need more. So I normally don't go in all these things. Let us see what is the problem and how we can remedy it. And as far as laws is concerned, of course, we should work and see that there should be good laws. That is very important, because structures are created out of the law, and the part which is anti-people will be implemented, and which is in favor of the people, that will be ignored.
There is a hierarchy between policy, act, and the constitution. Yeah, I mean, so okay, the fountain source is
Policy is totally, policy has no meaning. I am not.
Even if it goes to the parliament and gets approval by the parliament, it will be lower in terms of its implications than an act. Am I correct in understanding?
It is not enforceable at law. If you pick anything from the policy and go to the court, say the government has said this, government will say, we have said it, it is a policy. You can't enforce it. Court will say, I can't enforce this. This is not the law. So this is so much weight we are putting. Of course, we should discuss, because the bad intention, the dangerous intentions behind this 2020 policy is there. We must blast the government. We must blast the Modi theory. कि सब कुछ पहले खराब था, like मतलब कहते हैं गाड़ी खराब हो गई जैसे, और बिल्कुल विकार हो गई थी पहले की एजुकेशन. अब now by this policy, I really shocked listening Modi ji's. So Madhu will say why you are saying G. So
but it's true. One thing is true, Ashok, what you say is that ये लोग तो खुद बोल रहे हैं, जब उनको पूछा जा रहा है कि आपकी पॉलिसी, दिस इज एक्चुअली सपोर्टिंग कंप्लीटली व्हाट यू जस्ट सेड, जब उनको पूछा गया कि आपकी पॉलिसी का ये होगा क्या, ये क्या, तो वो कहते हैं कि हमारी पॉलिसी तो ऐसी कमाल की है कि वो इतनी फ्लेक्सिबल है कि जो आप करना चाहे वो कर सकते हैं.
नहीं वो कुछ नहीं है, वो बकवास है.
It's a fraud. You're right, it's a jumla.
Big fraud. They don't feel shy or shame in telling lies to the people. This is the unfortunate.
That's why I have a problem with G being used, because shameless.
Shameless government. मतलब जो हम लोगों ने जो एजुकेशन ली है वो यूजलेस एजुकेशन थी, और मोदी जी का जो ये डॉक्यूमेंट है, and I have never seen any government talking so much on the education policies which they are talking. They are talking, every leader is talking about education policy, might have not even understood or read it at all.
Ashok, but I want to, say still one thing to you, that even though it doesn't have the kind of value of an act or a law, many things which are happening now through this policy, many things. I think, for example, centralization of all exams from class 3 onwards, You understand? Centralization. It's not simply introduction of exam. If you look at it, I mean, it says that by the competent authority. And there have been many statements which suggest that the school examinations are to be in line with PISA, that international thing. And for that, there will be a coordination body which is suggested in this document called Parak. So I mean, give you countless examples of the ways in which, even though it is not a law, but there is a need to kind of contest it, because if we don't, then those things they're going to institutionalize, like school complex, like this centralization of exam, all other things, and the way they are already constituting committees in different universities to change structures, from 3 year to 4 year, reducing MA to 1 year, reduce scratching MPhil, minimizing scholarships, centralizing scholarships. So what I'm saying is that I really felt, and I'm being very frank with you, I really felt in your presentation today, as well as at another earlier occasion, that you seem to think that we have to focus on the execution, we have to focus on the practical. And we also thought like that for quite some time, and internally we had this, okay, every time we just go into opposition. So this time we wanted to plunge into something constructive. But ultimately, when we saw the way in which it is being implemented and the kind of things that are being implemented through this policy, we realize that sometimes even opposition, I mean the defensive action, is a constructive thing, because then those things will be very harmful. They will increase dropout, and they will legitimize dropout. So I mean, I'm rather making a request that, I mean, let's be also together, as you have already agreed,
Yes.
together in
Yes.
in building and defending public education system, in also opposing new education policy.
Yes. Strategizing. We should discuss the item after item, and prepare and strategize how to fight it. We have to understand. Now, first of all, we have to understand really, like 25%, 25% admission. Some are opposing, some are supporting. So we have to be clear in our mind that really it is good or it is bad. So unless we are clear on the point, first of all, we cannot build things on it. So let us be, whether it is a centralized examination. I don't have much knowledge about that, because it is more an educational issue. But if we sit together, and law and education problems, so I think both together we can come out, and many times we will be able to take it to the court also, create public opinion also, and things change with that. It is not that
Yeah.
things never change. Things change also.
And yeah, I think we can
Sure,
continue
Badal.
this discussion afterwards also.
Mhm.
I think we can close it here.
Even
if
I can
Tejas Mohan can-
physically meet and understand what is the problem. I will try to understand it, and then I
Yeah.
can see what law can help and what other things can help, so
Right.
that ultimately
Right.
we should reach to some destination. Na?
Right.
I mean,
And
you
that has to
already
be
know.
that has to be item to item, not mixing everything.
Uh,
So we can work on. We have to work hard. We have to tell people very clearly. This is
Like-
the problem, and they will actually में क्या होता है, जब कोई प्रॉब्लम होगी तो लोग उसको सफर कर रहे होते हैं, लेकिन वो रिकॉग्नाइज ही नहीं कर पाते कि ये
Pol-
हम सफर कर
pol-
रहे हैं, और why it is there, because, or what is the what is the remedy of it, they don't understand. So we have to be together in that all process, no?
like you have been fighting, to get, teachers for students. Now, as soon as this policy came, one of the things that Yogi Adityanath in UP did was to introduce 5 years probation period. I mean, so increasing it from 2 years to 5 years, and which also means that because in higher education, the policy proposes a tenure track system. So obviously now when he has implemented one provision of it, in the higher education also, you will have now the tenure track system. So which means that, you serve for 10 years or whatever, then they will review You understand? I mean, so this is something like destabilizing once again. I mean, there will be no. So it's another way of contextualizing the. So there are really issues which, I mean, even the whatever is being said in the policy, whether they fall in the terrain of law or not, but they are being already brought into the domain of schools and colleges.
Vikasji, it needs a multi-dimensional fight. Multi-dimensional
Exactly.
fight, not one, not only
You're right.
court and law. So many things. If we bring everything like negative and positive, you bring closer to it, it has its effect. Something scientifically we have to go.
So, one more issue, like what about the language? Giving the Sanskrit from the very first, even from the pre-primary schools, and like it's a simple Sanskrit. Simple Sanskrit. I mean, we don't know where we are going, and how this.
I
The
think
whole
that
issue
this
of
issue,
language is another
Yes,
issue,
yes.
yeah,
people-
this also needs to be, because you can't
Yeah.
discriminate. We may be very, very high idealistic persons, very, very revolutionary person. We have to understand the emotions of the people, need of the people, what is happening on the ground. If you are poor, you go to government school and they will teach you in a mother tongue Hindi. And if you are rich, you go to private school. From pre-primary, you will get English language, and English language rules Hindi language. We can't ignore the hard facts also. No, you have to take everything and find out what is the best short way or long way. We have to do, and we have to work. Let it take 200 years for that. I don't mind.
Right.
No, but it is possible to have mother tongue, and after a certain stage, education in the mother tongue.
But it should
But
be for
after
all schools,
just
na?
1 minute. No, but that doesn't mean Hindi.
No, it should be
Please,
for
I
all
think this
schools.
is very important for
Yes, I
all
understand.
students. For
I
all
understand.
students, the moment you say
Yes.
mother tongue plus after a certain age, good English teaching. Because
Yes.
okay, English is an international language. English is also an Indian language. I mean, I find that, when if sitting in the metro, they can say your or on your mobile phone, they can say that the caller जिनको आप उनकी call वो hold पे कर दिया है. If you can say hold पे कर दिया है, तो आप अंग्रेजी क्यों नहीं सीख सकते? It's a recognition that this has become, but that doesn't take away from the need for your mother tongue. In fact, pushing Hindi and uske piche Sanskrit will actually push people more towards only English. Because
You're
उनको
right.
लगता है अगर foreign language बोलनी है तो फिर अंग्रेजी हो सीख लें.
But it should be for all. Na? There should be
Yeah, for
universal,
all.
universal
right.
system. No?
Absolutely. This is what I'm saying. We
Universal
need to
system.
have
Let
an
the
education
High Court,
system.
Supreme Court, all should work on some line. No?
No, you're quite right. We have to have a system of education.
Madhuji,
But our policy is my child will go to school, your child will go to work.
Yeah.
चलेगा ना?
and especially, this is, I mean, both Hindi and Sanskrit is so difficult for the Northeastern. Like even to pronounce the words, I always keep telling our group, even the pronunciations are so difficult.
Even I fought in the High Court for permitting lawyers to argue in Hindi, and they rejected. They constituted 3-judge committee. I got 3,000 signatures from the lawyers, and putting it before the Chief Justice of Delhi High Court that lawyers should be permitted, those who want to argue in Hindi. So they constituted 3-judge committee, and they declined my request. This is the state of affairs. Litigant does not know what is going on between the lawyer and the judge. These are all contradictions, na? Very typical contradictions.
But it's contradictory. It's also discriminatory against those who do not speak Hindi.
Yes.
It's just as it is discriminatory against those who do not know how to speak English. I remember being told by this young boy that he had to leave his village at the age of 10 years
जी
because school education was in Bengali and not in Kok Barok, which was his tribal language.
yes yes
Now, I can go on to, how the practicality of language, but what struck me was that, can you imagine a 10-year-old having to leave his home and his village only because they couldn't teach him in his mother tongue? I mean, that's a disastrous situation. So
मैं
they had
आपको
to
ना
go to Shillong and
मैं
live
आपको
on their own.
मैं आपको ना एक बिल्कुल रिसेंट अभी ताजा हमने केस बनाया है. मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ, बड़ा टिपिकल एग्जांपल है. मुस्लिम फैमिली, the girl was sent to MCD school at his appropriate age. She studied up to class 4. Later on, from MCD school, the parents withdrew and they sent her to madrasa. Madrasa people said that you don't know Urdu at all, and you have to read Urdu here, so you have to start with class 1. And the girl was again put to class 1, and she completed class 5 in next 5 years. Now she is approaching to the government school for admission. Now government school says you have become overage. So we are filing. We have already prepared case and we are filing in the High Court. But this needs to be gone deeper and deeper.
But it is also true that, if you can insist that a child study in Hindi, then why can't a child study in Urdu?
Yes.
Because just as Urdu is a vernacular of this region.
I agree with you.
This policy, this is what we are writing also, only uses the term multilingual. Actually, its understanding of language still 40 years old. It's still
it's worse.
Even worse. I mean, it still, even when it uses the term multilingual, it still thinks of languages as language, as something which is disconnected from other languages. So it doesn't actually, because the idea of the multilinguality is very different. I mean, it's like, the language of the milieu of the child, and which is very fluent, which has everything. And then the only distinction that comes is only at the level of the script. And that must be taken care of. I mean, in every school, I mean, suppose there's a child, who is admitted in a school where students speak different languages, and one of them or 4 of them, 10 of them want to write it, in a script, in say Persian script, for example, there shouldn't be a problem, because that is what multilinguality means. But that you don't find, even they have used the term, but actually they have not borrowed the actual implication of the term multilinguality. But I think, my suggestion is that
Vikas ji, I am just interrupting you. I may tell you, this is all jugglery of words. Jugglery. I am telling you very interesting.
You're right.
Very interesting thing. This jugglery of words is such. You have seen this. ये जो किसानों के जो laws बने हैं, जो किसान के बारे में, उसमें वो बोलता है, गवर्नमेंट बोलती है, हमारे अपोजिशन के लोग बोलते हैं, पब्लिक किसान बोल रहा है कि इसमें वो मिनिमम स्पोर्ट्स प्राइस नहीं लिखा आपने. वो कह रहे हैं, इट इज देयर. तो वो जो इंटरप्रिटेशन है वो ऐसे करेंगे, जो आप बोल रहे हो वो कहेंगे, आप कहोगे ये नहीं है, वो कहेंगे है ये
फ्लेक्सिबल है,
पॉलिसी में है,
फ्लेक्सिबल है.
तो ये है वहां पे, आप क्या करोगे, आप कैसे ये डिसाइड करोगे कि वो नहीं है. तो
I think we have crossed our limit, Professor Jagmohan. So I now really request you to just present a vote of thanks to our speaker today and close this.
It was
Thank you, Ashok. Good fun.
It was really a pleasure to listen to Advocate Ashok Agarwal ji and raising. And I think what his suggestion is that how do we go into the action mode?
Yeah.
Because the policy is how the people will finally participate, and there is a big chunk of people, as we are thinking of the parents, teachers, students, and even social-minded citizens combining together and making it and challenging it all the places and coming up with a action plan. So thank you very much, Ashok ji, and we will look for your guidance and participation in bringing up that action mode. Thank you very much. And this was a good
Thank you.
discussion.
Obliged.
So
Thank you.